for a balance of perspectives, we haven't
Yes.
heard from we heard from Naira Marley via Reno Omokri, and that was just that. We haven't heard from Sam Larry, we haven't heard from anyone else, and we want a balance of perspectives. Now, I'm not going to ask you the questions today. The questions are going to come from the comment section, and we're going to invite people live. Okay? So I'm just going to moderate the section because I want it to be a lawyer versus public conversation as against a lawyer versus Daddy Freeze conversation. If you want to ask any question, please be respectful. Please be respectful. Um, By the grace of God and by the competence of the police, we will discover who and what led to the untimely demise of Mohbad. But we, watching one or two videos at home, cannot determine who is responsible or who is guilty. So please feel free to ask any question, but first of all, please introduce yourself and please address our people at home. If you're watching on TikTok, double click the screen, share the video on YouTube, share the video on Facebook so more people can get to see what we're talking about today. And like I said earlier on, we've got Naira Marley's lawyer with us tonight to address us. Please go ahead, sir.
Daddy Freeze, thank you very much for having me. My name is Gani Arobo. I am one of the lawyers who's working for Naira Marley. There are quite a few who most of who came up to join his team pro bono. Apparently, they were surprised at the quick dispensation of justice against him by the mob, and it's hiked a sense of personal responsibility as lawyers to say, look, let us dig into this matter, and we are dealing with a very interesting situation. It presents both an opportunity and a challenge. As a lawyer, I will speak only to the issues of law and maybe some of the facts, because the police has somewhat concluded their investigation. We were very disciplined from the beginning. It's not as though we were not seeing all the activities, very coordinated activities of some social media players. But we decided that the most important thing was to focus on the police investigation and not distract from it, And that was the reason why we ensured that Naira Marley came back to the country. And under extremely difficult circumstance, and I will explain that, I want Nigerians to know that Naira Marley had left Nigeria on the 31st of August 2023 to renew his residency permit in Netherlands. And he had already made the application and began the process. On the 12th of September, sadly, Ileri Oluwa Promise Aloba, aka Mohbad, passed on in circumstances that had no business with Naira Marley, who was not in the country at all. Now, the social media outburst started almost immediately. Naira is involved. Naira Mohbad, Naira Mohbad, Naira this, Naira that. The young man did not understand where it was coming from, because from all the available evidence, even those that was elicited under interrogation, it is clear that the last physical contact between them was sometime in 2022. And you know that as it relates to or homicide, manslaughter, there must be at least physical contact, either directly or indirectly, with the person that is deceased. and there must also be the mental elements, where the intention is there to commit the offense, which is called mens rea, then you call it. If the intention is not there, maybe it arose out of negligence, we call it mal. So when the noise became so loud and all that, and you know that Naira Marley is not only a human being, he's an artist and also a brand. It was a serious issue of concern, and you know what? We've got to address this issue frontally. You cannot be in the Netherlands and all this allegation is flying left, right, center. Why don't you make a quick return so that we'll come and confront these issues straight up? So we began discussing with the police to notify them that he was going to come, you know, and that we needed the police to arrange for his security and all that. The police assured us that, look, let him come, he will be safe and all that. And so we said, okay. So in order for him to come, and I'm sure everybody can verify this, because he had made an application for the renewal of his residency permits in Netherlands, he was prohibited from leaving Europe as long as that application is pending. The only alternative was for him to cancel that application. So he had to make a decision. If I stay back and wait for the application process to run out, they will say I'm avoiding the police. If I cancel this application, everything I came to do in the Netherlands, I would have forfeited. But for him, addressing the issue of Mohbad was far, far more important. So he actually cancelled the application, you know, and rushed back to Nigeria, arrived, and immediately was taken in by the police and taken to Panti, where the team of investigators were operating from. On that, I think that was on Wednesday. On Thursday, we sat down together with the interrogators for almost 6 or 7 hours. Lengthy interrogation. And it was very revealing. It was very revealing because there are so many things that Nigerians are not aware of. Naira Marley has been completely misrepresented by people who have deliberately taken out this issue out of context. You know, whether they have an agenda or not, they have successfully moved a lot of people into thinking that Naira Marley is a monster on 2 legs. This is a guy that met Mohbad. Mohbad kept sending him his freestyles on Instagram, DMs, sending it to him regularly. This is my stuff. Please look at it, look at it. And he was looking at the thing and man, this guy is a talented guy. So in 2019, he took a decision to take Mohbad in, you know, and sign him on to the record label. And he made that offer to Mohbad, and Mohbad immediately accepted, was very excited. But the mistake that Naira Marley did was that he didn't conduct his own due diligence before taking in Mohbad, you know. But that's a story for another day. Mohbad joins the record label, and unlike what people are banding about, I want Nigerians to produce any other artist in this country who has a contract with any of his signed artists where he invests 100% of all the resources required to nurture, train, and perfect his crafts. Yet he shares 50-50 of everything that is earned with the artist. That is the deal Naira Marley has with Mohbad. Naira Marley makes all the investments. After doing that, when Mohbad begins to earn money, Naira Marley shares 50-50 with Mohbad. I just saw something today where Portable was saying that he has spent 300 million on one artist. 3 million rather on one artist. And that he has only made 70,000 naira again, and that he's driving the boy away. That he's tired of spending money on people that don't yield profits. The long and short of it all is that Naira Marley made the investment and kept pushing Mohbad. When they come to him for shows, and he said, look, I don't want this show, it's too cheap, maybe it's like 10 million, I don't want a 10 million naira show. He pushed Mohbad forward, you know. So everything was fine and dandy, and you know, Naira Marley had the artists in a separate building from his house. So that building is known as the Malian house. Then there's another building which is his own house, and then there's a studio in another house. So they are all three different houses. They did not stay together in the same space. You know, so Mohbad started having issues with the record label when at some point he came out and made a video that anything that happens to him, they should hold the record, they should hold Naira Marley responsible. And Naira Marley was not even in the country at the time. So by the time he came back, it was of the view that why would you make a video like this? Mohbad was very apologetic that he had a psychotic breakdown, you know, and that it will never repeat itself again. Let's fast forward to on the 5th of October 2022. On that day, Mohbad came to the studio with 4 boys. He saw Naira Marley in the studio, and Naira Marley said, what do you want? Now, something had happened earlier in the day. I think it began around 11 o'clock in the evening. There was an argument on the group chat where Mohbad had said that he did not want his manager again. The manager was of the view that, why would you say you don't want me again? You told me that you would do 15%. You would do 10% instead of 15%. I agreed. What is the reason you don't want me again? Mohbad said he didn't like the way he was working, he wasn't promoting, blah, blah, blah. So, okay. The whole thing degenerated into an argument between 2 young boys. So Naira Marley stepped in and said, you guys stop this noise. Mohbad, if you want a manager different from this guy, go and get that manager, bring him, and we'll allow him manage you. Whoever you want to manage you, just bring the person, and we'll allow him manage you. That was where the conversation ended. Only for Mohbad to come back that evening with those 4 boys. And then Marley said, I was like, is this still that issue of this? Please just go home and rest. We'll see tomorrow and we'll bring the manager tomorrow. We'll resolve everything. Now, Mohbad called the manager on his phone 6 times, and the records are there. The police has that. He called the boy 6 times on the phone to come out. The boy was not with his phone. At the 6th call, the boy rushed out. When the boy rushed out, so what is this? What is it? Mohbad said, come and meet me at the studio. And when he got to the studio, what did the late Mohbad say to him? You slave, you were a roof. That thing you were saying on the chat, repeat it again. And then the fight started. Before you know what was happening, everything had gone completely out of control. By this time, Naira Marley was still upstairs in the studio. So they rushed upstairs to go and get him. Immediately he came down, the first thing he did was to ensure that he held Mohbad and shielded him into the vehicle and asked him to leave the scene immediately. Now, the vehicle he shielded Mohbad to get into is an RX 350. I think it was bought in 2020. That car was bought brand new for him by the same Naira Marley, right? So if Naira Marley was going to assault him, at least maybe we collect his car from him now. But it was that car that Mohbad drove in and left the scene together with the 4 boys that he came with to come and attack his manager. Eventually, a few hours that same day, lawyers from Mohbad wrote a letter saying that Mohbad is no longer signed on to the record, that he was terminating his contract. So the understanding on the side of Naira Marley was that, all along, all he wanted was to terminate his contract. Okay, no problem. And between that time till the day that Mohbad died, Naira Marley did not set eyes on Mohbad again. That evidence is unchallenged. It was elicited under interrogation with the police. So that is the reason why we are a bit happy that the police found that there was no connection between Naira Marley and the death of Mohbad. There was no proximate connection. There was no connection whatsoever. He could not have killed him. He had no reason to want to kill him. He had no business killing him. So the only other thing that people have not also noted is that at the time Mohbad left the record label, $70,000 was what he left with. This is a fact. $70,000. These are facts. So we're not talking illusion here.
Can you explain $70,000 in a bank account, in cash, in Bitcoin?
Yes.
How?
In cash, in money that was taken, the money that was taken by him. You understand? And the record label said, no, don't worry, go with it. We're not going to engage you with it or in it. We're not going to have any issues with you on it. Because, first of all, people have to understand that Naira Marley picked Mohbad from the streets. He was proud that Mohbad had become the artist that he was becoming. If for some reason Mohbad now felt that he no longer was comfortable with the record label, Naira Marley was not, he was comfortable with Mohbad living. He had no problem with it. He had other artists anyways. He had Zeno, C Black, and a few others. And there are a lot of others who are also coming up to the stream, you know. So there was absolutely no motivation, no motivation whatsoever for him to cause harm to Mohbad. Then when you now look at the preliminary report of the police, which has now narrowed down the proximate cause of to be the actions taken by a so-called quack nurse, you know, you would then find that indeed Naira Marley had no business whatsoever with Mohbad. Between October 5th, 2022 to September 12th, 2023, Mohbad lived his life, made new friends, interacted with new people, did new things, you know. So if you are looking for anything as it relates to Mohbad, it cannot be an incident that happened in 2022. It certainly cannot be that. It has to be an incident that happened within the immediate period when the unfortunate incident occurred. So that is why we say that the report of the police as it relates to that, right, was spot on. You cannot fault it. And we also, like many other Nigerians, are very eager to see the report, the autopsy report and the toxicology report. The autopsy report will conclusively state what the cause of death was, right? The police has added a guess that it might have arisen as a result of the several medications that were administered, you know, and then he reacted and all that. But there might be several other factors. Maybe because he had fought somebody on the 10th of September, maybe he was bleeding internally, because if you talk to some other doctors, they will come to some other conclusion that administering those drugs on their own might not be enough. Maybe he was having internal bleeding, maybe there were issues of substance abuse and all that. And when the drugs interacted with those things, I'm not a qualified lawyer, I can't speak to that. So the autopsy report, which is going to be done by qualified medical experts, which in any case, the police, the newspapers had reported that the police said it was ready, but the CP today said it was not ready. So we're going by what the CP said. You know, we hope that that is ready as soon as possible. That will also answer conclusively certain open questions. Then the toxicology report. The CP mentioned it in passing, but that is a very crucial matter, right? If you say the man was intoxicated, with what? Did he drink beer? Did he smoke shisha? What intoxicated him? What was the substance that intoxicated him before he got into a fight with his best friend, supposed best friend, who was acting according to the police in his best interest? So we need that toxicology report to be able to determine the extent to which that had an impact in causing the unfortunate incident. Now, what we have a problem with, you know, and what we are not particularly satisfied with, is the fact that it would seem that from the moment Mohbad passed, a few people got together and took a conscious decision to pin this on both Naira Marley and Sam Larry.
Okay,
To
sorry,
achieve,
before you go any further,
yes,
you've spoken about Naira Marley. Can you please address Sam Larry? Because there was a popular video showing
yes,
Sam Larry holding Cutlass.
yes.
What's his name? Was there in that video, that other rapper?
Zlatan,
Zlatan was
yeah,
there. Mohbad was
yes,
there. And in
yes,
that video, it did not look confrontational. It just looked like Mohbad was sitting pretty and this guy came. And then,
yes.
so let's talk about Sam Larry. We've heard voice notes, we've seen videos, and all this. So please, I'd like you to address that.
Thank you very much. That's a very crucial point, and I was going to come there. But thank you for fast tracking my arrival to that point. Let me quickly address the issue of bullying first of all, as it relates to Naira Marley, right? Before I come to Sam Larry, because my work is with respect to Naira Marley primarily, although we also understand that Sam Larry is in similar situation. Now, between October 5, 2022, when Mohbad left the record, of course, Naira Marley could not have been bullying Mohbad when he was signed onto his record label. So if we're talking about bullying, it had to have occurred after he had left the record label. Now, between October 5, 2022, when he left the record label, till September 12, 2023, Mohbad did not go to a single police station to report that Naira Marley was bullying him. Unlike, in any case, Mohbad had the knowledge of reporting whenever the issue of bullying came up, because he went to report the issue of Sam Larry. So there is no direct allegation by Mohbad against Naira Marley as it relates to bullying. Instead, what we have as it relates to Naira Marley is a video evidence that Mohbad's wife called Naira Marley whenever Mohbad was in crisis. And the wife has not come out to deny that till this moment. Whenever Mohbad was in crisis, Naira Marley was the go-to guy. Now, do you go to the person that is bullying you? That the free sir, please help me. The person is bullying you. Is that the number one person you call when you are in crisis? No, certainly not. So the question of bullying does not arise at all. And even the police, in their preliminary report, they narrowed the allegation of bullying as it relates to Naira Marley to October 5 events, 2022. They didn't say that it continued after that. They narrowed it to that specific date. And if you look at all the videos that have come out from that date, you will not see Naira Marley in any of those videos. Not one. Because it wasn't part of that activity. And in any case, that fight started because Mohbad brought boys to the house to confront his manager. And whatever was done in that circumstance to defend themselves cannot be referred to as bullying. In any case, who will be bullying if I bring boys to somebody's house to come and forcefully make a point? Am I not the one bullying the person? So the issue of bullying by Naira Marley is unsubstantiated. It's just being repeated by Gist Lover, Iyabo Ojo, Tonto. In any case, we have a package for those ones. When we are done with this whole thing, by the grace of God, and the truth is out, there are legal processes by which we will interact with them. Because you can't behave in such an irresponsible manner, you understand, as they have behaved, and go home and sleep without consequences. No, there are legal tools by which we will address such a behavior. So, as for Naira Marley, I believe very strongly that no matter how hard you look, you will not find a single incident where Naira Marley bullied him. Now, as for Sam Larry, what I understand, speaking to his lawyers and speaking to him directly, is that on that fateful day, I think it was sometime in June 2023, I think he came to Elegushi Beach for something else. And then, as soon as he walked into that scene, where I think they told him that some people are shooting, some musicians are shooting a video somewhere around the beach. So, of course, being somebody who is involved in promoting music and all that, he wanted to know who and who were involved in that activity. So he went there. So as soon as he got in there, now to confirm that he did not know that it was Mohbad, You remember that if you look at that video, the first thing that came out of his mouth was what here is it's even yourself. That was the first thing he said, to show that he didn't even know the person that was there. So it's even this one that is here self. You will not go home today. Lord, you know. Immediately he said that, you observed that Zlatan got up and tried to stop him from approaching Mohbad. Now, and that video is a 9-second video. That the freeze, it will interest you to know there is a longer version of that video. That longer version, yes, I will send that to you. I will send these materials to you. That longer version of that video shows these guys eating amala together shortly after that incident. Oh yeah, you won't believe that. It showed them. Zlatan was.
I'm going to send it to you, so I can even play it. If you can send it to me,
I will have to pull it up. I will send it to you by WhatsApp. I have to pull it up from somewhere, please. I will send it to you. I have seen the video myself. Zlatan was wearing the same shirt he was wearing at that video shoot.
And Mohbad was wearing there.
Mohbad was there. I think Mohbad had changed his own clothes. You know? But that same day, they went and ate amala together. Now, I don't want to rat out Zlatan, but I expect that Zlatan will come out and clarify on this issue, because we know what he said to people, including Davido, as it relates to that incident. He was specific as to whether or not Sam Larry did anything to Mohbad on that day. But Daddy Freeze, don't take my word for it. Daddy Freeze, don't take my word for it. Let us go to Mohbad's petition before the police in Alagbon, right? If you have seen that petition, he made very strong allegations. One of the allegations he made in that petition was that the equipment, right, that was to be used for recording that very video shoot was destroyed by Sam Larry and his boys in that incident, and that equipment cost 5 million naira. He further alleged that there was an 8 million naira that he paid, you know, for the purpose of the entire shooting activities and all that, blah, blah, blah. So now the question would be that if the equipment for shooting the video rather was vandalized by Sam Larry and his boys, according to you, you will be unable to carry out that activity that day, at least, Abi? Now, it will shock you to know that that video was shot on that day. They completed the shooting on that day, sir. And they have since rolled out that video, right? And have been making commercial benefit from it. The same video that he said equipment to make the video were vandalized. Now, he said he paid 8 million. We said, okay, no problem. Bring the account to which you paid 8 million. Or was it cash? Name the person you gave the money to. These were the issues that arose in Alagbon when the police called him to come and to interrogate him, to say, okay, come and substantiate your petition. Do you know that Sam Larry went to Alagbon 3 times? Alagbon they invited him 3 times. He went there 3 times. He wrote his statement. And when on the 3rd occasion, after inviting Mohbad to come and substantiate the petition and he didn't come, Sam Larry's lawyer was forced to then do a counter petition alleging that Mohbad made false accusation to the police.